Sponsored by Surfshark.
How many ways can you fold a phone? Are Google smartwatches poised for a comeback? Is it time to reconsider modular accessories? And do you even need a phone anymore? I'm Michael Fisher, and I've spent a week in Barcelona at Mobile World Congress with all the new mobile devices trying to answer those questions. Before we get to the phones, let's swing by the Qualcomm booth to see a product designed to save us from them. This is the AI Pin from Humane, a company that's found itself at the center of a debate about the role of technology in our lives and what constitutes innovation versus mere gimmickry. Whichever side of that line you land on, though, seeing this thing in person will make you appreciate its technology, even if you're not a comm badge collector like me. The AI Pin attaches to your shirt using a clip, a magnet, or an inductive magnetic battery booster to augment the power cell in the pin itself. You tap the touchpad on its face to talk to it, and it talks back, using a combination of LLMs to answer questions and execute tasks like making phone calls or sending messages. It's got Bluetooth for earbuds, Wi-Fi, and a cellular radio, because it's also a Snapdragon-powered phone. There's also a wide-angle camera on board, alongside a time-of-flight sensor for depth detection, and the flashiest part of the whole thing, a laser projector that lets you use your hand as a display and an input device. The engineers told me the hardest part of designing the hardware was simply fitting all the components into such a small casing. And seeing the projector in person was what made me most excited to use the AI Pin in the real world. It's a fascinating approach to controlling a mobile device. Oh, and I did get one popular question answered. The pin automatically locks when it's separated from its backing. So if someone rips the pin off your shirt, they'll have to know your pin code to make it work. I have a lot of concerns about how well the pin will deliver on Humane's promises, given AI's documented propensity to spew unreliable information. And at a price of $700 with a subscription cost of $24 a month, it's not the cheapest trinket around. Some folks also consider the pin a non-starter without a proper display, especially in the face of an army of AR competitors from companies like Oppo, which announced its AirGlass 3 here in Barcelona. But again, seeing the AI Pin in person, I couldn't help but be impressed by its technology. I look forward to testing it in the real world when it starts shipping in mid-April. Less ambitious, but more accessible to most, is a product I got the opportunity to test for a couple weeks ahead of MWC, the OnePlus Watch 2. This is notable first as kind of a redemption story. OnePlus's first attempt at a smartwatch was a fairly spectacular failure, so it's nice to see the brand try again. And right out of the box, the big 47mm watch instills confidence. It's stainless steel topped by sapphire crystal with a beautiful 1.4-inch watch face and two pushers mounted to an accent that lends the case an intentional asymmetry. I really like the look and feel here. The Watch 2 runs Wear OS, correcting the biggest problem with OnePlus's first attempt, but the real news here is how it runs it. At the same time the Watch 2 was announced, Google took the wraps off a new architecture to make its wearable platform more efficient. Alongside the Snapdragon W5 inside the watch is an ultra-low-power coprocessor that takes over for some of the less demanding operations, and Google has optimized Wear OS 4 so that both chips work in tandem. The more powerful one only waking up when needed, but otherwise staying dormant to preserve battery life. And I got an average of just over 3 days of heavy use out of the watch between charges, which is impressive for a Wear OS device. Not impressive, though, a crown that doesn't do anything when you spin it. Boo. The Watch 2 will launch March 4th for $299. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to see a dedicated review video for this one. Okay, back onto the show floor to hunt down some foldables. Ever since the first folding phones hit the market about 4 years ago at between $1,500 and $2,000, we've been wondering how long those prices will take to come down to earth. And it looks like this year's MWC is that magic moment. I saw no fewer than 4 flip phones at the Fira this year, all of them intended for price tags below $600, and most of them from brands you wouldn't necessarily expect. Take the Flip X from Doogee, a brand better known for rugged dependability than internal and external cultivation. But here we are. Despite its plasticky gloss, this was the least polished of the phones I saw on the floor, with a non-functional cover screen. In fact, according to 9to5 Google's Ben Schoen, this particular demo device was later removed from the booth after it broke. Not a great sign for a phone aimed for an April release. But apparently it's just one of 2 flip phones planned by Doogie, as shown in this photo snapped by Miriam Jouar, aka Tank Girl. It was also Miriam who pointed out, on our stop at the Blackview booth, that most of these cheapo clamshells sport a spec sheet anchored by a Helio G99 chipset, which means they're all limited to 4G, which means they're most likely not aimed at the US. No surprise there, but still a letdown because the Blackview Hero 10 actually has some character. I like the vegan leather, the color, and the circular cover display, which reminds me of that Ulefone flip phone dummy I saw back at IFA in Berlin. Ulefone had no flip to show at MWC, but Avenir, better known by its licensed brand Energizer, did. I couldn't tell what put me off about the Ultimate U660S. The strange, scratched fiberglass look of the casing, the huge gap when closed, the oddly rounded bezel corners. But once I read Android Police's take, I finally put my finger on it. Energizer is best known for shipping phones with massive batteries, yet this one carries a capacity that's lower than either the Galaxy Flip 5 or the Motorola Razr. And Motorola might be another reason none of these brands are expressly promising a US release, since its Razr line is much more capable and always deeply discounted. The only flip I saw that spurned anything resembling desire was the Nubia Flip 5G from ZTE. Satin finish on the sides, distinctive pattern on the glass, and its circular cover screen is actually big enough to make some use of. More importantly, it's powered by a Snapdragon 7 Gen 1, which means 5G is a possibility. All that makes this the most expensive flip of the bunch, but at the equivalent of $599 US, it seems the era of true mid-range foldables might finally be dawning. I'll get around to that other foldable everyone's been posting about, but on the way, let's stop to say hello to a brand you know, even if you don't know it. If you've shown interest in any phone bearing the Nokia brand since 2016, it's come from a company called HMD Global, which acquired the license to that famed phone maker in December of that year. This year, the company's branching out with a broader strategy involving a whole house of brands, including its own house label, now reformulated as Humane Mobile Devices. I gotta be honest, I think they should have gone to market with a more memorable name, and I was as disappointed as the rest of the crowd when we learned we wouldn't see new HMD phones until well after the show. But HMD Fusion does excite me. That's the company's name for yet another revival of the modular phone concept, something that, yes, LG and Motorola have famously tried before with mixed results. HMD's approach is similar, with a 6-pin connector on a phone that allows accessories, called outfits, to connect and extend the phone's functionality. But HMD thinks it has a greater chance of success because it's opening development to anyone who wants to build outfits. With 3D printing technology more accessible than it ever was to would-be makers back in LG or Motorola's day, the barrier to entry is lower. And you can bet HMD's phones will be cheaper too. You can download the Fusion Development Toolkit now, and the phone is expected to launch this summer alongside some others, including a tie-in with Mattel for a Barbie-branded flip phone. A pretty cool relaunch for a brand I've covered a lot over the years, and I'm not just saying that because they plied me with dragon's breath. Trade shows can be a lot of fun. These shows also include dancing robot dogs, privacy-focused mobile operating systems, new cars, flying and otherwise, and Clicks keyboards from your favorite YouTuber.
Clicks Technologies. Look at the buzz this little booth is getting. I wonder what they make.
But to keep this video on time and on brand, let's end with the classic crowd pleaser of some concept devices. Yes, it's a transparent display on a Lenovo laptop, a micro LED film sandwiched between 2 layers of glass. If this ever comes to market, Lenovo tells me it would like to get the resolution upgraded from its current 720p and possibly make the opacity of the back cover variable, so you can have some privacy when you do want it. If you're asking why, well, that's my cue to remind you that the role of a concept device is to explore possibilities unencumbered by such narrow questions. And in the same spirit, let's head upstairs to see our friends at Motorola. When deployed, this offering from the company's skunkworks-like 312 Labs division looks like a razor, but it's really kind of the inverse. Give it a little pressure in the wrong direction, like some depraved phone torturer, and this adaptive display concept does indeed bend the wrong way. It's pretty wild. To be clear, we should not expect this to come to market. Lenovo's been showing a version of this at tech events for many years, and it makes zero sense from a practicality standpoint, since the most fragile component of the device is constantly exposed, a problem also faced by the Motorola Riser. But bending this way does offer one advantage. Slap a bracelet on your wrist, and the magnets built into the nylon-like back cover allow you to wear the phone like a giant smartwatch. When you do, the device switches over to a simplified interface lifted pretty much directly from the Razer's cover screen. And a similar bit of UI cleverness kicks in if you bend it into a tent shape, which gives you the chance to play Connect 4 in a whole new, utterly bizarre way. Never change, Motorola. And never change, MWC.
Privacy is a big deal these days. And if you're looking for a way to protect that privacy, consider my sponsor, Surfshark. With Surfshark, you get a lot more than just a VPN. CleanWeb automatically blocks more than 1 million malicious websites, phishing methods, and other threats, while Alternative ID builds you a brand new online identity, so you can stop giving away your phone number or email every time you register on a new website. And with multi-hop, you can put more than one server between you and your destination for even greater privacy and security. Surfshark doesn't log its users' activity, a claim recently verified by a third-party audit from Deloitte, and it's also converted all of its infrastructure to diskless servers. That means that any information that would usually stay on hard drives is automatically deleted whenever those servers are turned off. Secure your privacy with Surfshark. Visit the link in the description and use coupon code MrMobile for an extra 3 months free.
Disclosure time. MrMobile's accommodations for MWC 2024 came from Clicks Technology, in which MrMobile has an ownership stake as co-founder. Other travel costs were covered by my publisher, Future PLC, and I attended events at which food and drink were provided by Qualcomm, HMD, Oppo, Nothing, and OnePlus. No manufacturer was given editorial input or copy approval rights, though. The lone sponsor of this video is Surfshark. Until next time, from Michael Fisher, Captain Two Phones on Threads, thanks for watching. And stay mobile, my friends.